there folks, how are you? My name's Michael, I am the Broke Astronomer. Today I'm going to be talking about StellarMate with the 10 micron mount. So essentially we want a couple of things. We want 64-bit operating system, which StellarMate does provide, and we want to have something like Mountwizzard 4 in order to do the mount modeling that we need to do. And the current version that's out right now is still compatible with 64-bit. I do understand that there's a new beta coming that does not. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of little toys and gizmos do you really care about? And ultimately, for myself at least, I only care about being able to make the mount model, to model the sky, so that the tracking of my mount is the best it can be, and therefore I don't need to do guiding. Or if I do need guiding, for example, if I have a Smith-Cassegrain telescope and I'm focusing using the primary mirror and there's going to be some movement of the mirror, I want to be able to guide. Therefore, I want to model as much of the error out as possible and then guide on top of that, basically babysitting the tracking, babysitting the mirror to make sure that it stays centered. Although when it does eventually flop over to the other side, you will always lose that sub because there's nothing else you can do. However, we can minimize all of those problems with some guiding if you're using that kind of a system. But at home here, I have a refractor, and the refractor is quite tight, I would say, meaning that there's not a whole lot of flexure involved, and therefore I can, in fact, get away with unguided imaging, especially up to about 10 minutes, right? So with that, we will get into this real quick. I invite you to go over to StellarMate.com. Now, this is, okay, you can do most of this, if not all of this, with 32-bit. Just go to the Ekos thing, and you can start from there. Let me show you where that website is. So if you go here to the indylib.org about Ekos, you can see here that this is essentially where we're going to start at. You have this one's advertised for StellarMate because the main developer for all of this is Jassim, whatever. I apologize for not being able to know what his name is. I could go look it up. He was on the Astro Imaging channel in the past, and I think his name was pronounced correctly there, and therefore I could do that. But you could come up here to Get Indy, as you can see here, and you can get it for Ubuntu if you have just the Linux box somewhere. You have Fedora, you have Arch, Mac OS X, you have Gentoo, Raspberry Pi, which is what we're doing, because the Raspberry Pi being so small and lightweight, it doesn't add a whole lot to your instrument weight, but it also provides a lot of power, you know. And then you have the source code for Linux, and then you have OpenSUSE. I don't know much about that, but for this point, you could just get the Raspberry Pi instructions, and it has, once you install your operating system of choice for your Raspberry Pi, you can go through and download all this, but it will be the 32-bit version. So just keep that in mind. There's also Astroberry. Okay, here we have Astroberry, and it's also the 32-bit. So you have, here's download instructions right here, and you can just get the image, and you can download the image. And like I said, it is also 32-bit. So this is a lot easier. It's already set up for you for most of the things that you want. You just download the file, and then you're going to be using certain software, and I'm going to demonstrate how to use the software. So if it's Astroberry 2.0.4, or if you're using, you just want to go ahead and grab, you know, the Raspberry Pi of Ekos and just assemble it all yourself, or if you want to just buy the 64-bit completed thing. Now, the reason that the StellarMate is the best of all of them to a certain extent is because the StellarMate, because it is a paid-for product that Jassim is actually spending a lot of his extra time and effort to develop. There's also an app for your smart device, your iPhone or your iPad or your Google device or whatever it is, and you can operate all of your things through a really beautiful front-end interface that seems to work pretty good. I have not used it, but other people have told me that it is the bee's knees. So there's that. But you can also, of course, connect everything through a web server using a browser. You can do something that I do, which is I use the Ekos, whatever system locally on a personal computer like this one that I'm recording on. Then it's connected through Wi-Fi to the Raspberry Pi, which is outdoors. And everything I do locally is essentially mirrored there. In other words, I'm controlling everything here, but the commands are being executed out there. And I have a wonderful graphical user interface locally. So I just load up K-stars here. And then because the 10 micron mount is a networked telescope mount, meaning you use an IP address and a port, any device on the network can communicate with it. The point of this video, if we ever get to it, is to teach you how to install everything. I'm going to do it live-ish. I'll do some editing in between little downtimes, but what we're going to do is we're going to get it all figured out. And that way, anyone in the future who has a 10 micron mount who would like to use this system can do so, okay? So let me go ahead and pause this while I go get a couple of things to bring into the room, and I'll be right back. Okay, I want to show you what I have really quick. This is my Raspberry Pi. Let me see if I can get a light on here for you guys. There we go. It has little fans there to keep it cool. It has two USB 3.0 ports and two USB 2.0 ports and a network port. I don't use the network port at all. On the side there, right where my fingers are, these are two HDMI. They have a really small, do I have it sitting here? Yeah. See, here's the cable. It's just like the really small on one end and then full-size HDMI on the other. And so I'm going to plug that into the first port closest to the power. And then the power is a USB Type-C. And what I'm going to do here, because I can, I'm going to use a wireless mouse. It's this one right here. And I think I put the little dongle in there. Yep, I did. So that way I can move around the desktop with it. And I also have a wired keyboard because I just didn't install the wireless one here, so I'm just going to connect that one as well. So my two USB 2.0 ports will currently be occupied by the wired keyboard and the wireless mouse dongle here. And then I have the video HDMI cable is plugged into my Elgato capture card, which is going to allow me to share my desktop here today. So first I have to find the power cable, USB Type-C power cable, and I'm going to switch over right now to the Elgato capture card so that we can watch everything. Oh no, actually we're not doing that yet. I'm going to remove the SD card that I already have in there, and it actually has StellarMate already installed on there. But what I would like to do is I would like to start fresh because I would like to demonstrate all of this. So I happen to have this little gizmo here, if I don't drop it on the floor, and it just happens to be a little USB adapter for SD cards. And so I install the SD card into the adapter, and then I plug it into my computer here. We'll hear the little beep bops. There we go. And it's gonna probably throw up a little one of those little things that says, you know, there's, yeah, there you go. Well, you don't see it. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. But it says, you know, format the disk, and that's because it cannot read that portion of the partition on that SD card. But here's the part you can read. So I'm going to close all of this out, cancel. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a program called SD Card Formatter. And this is one I've downloaded off the internet. And it's going to ask me if I want to update it. I'm going to say no because, you know, it's, why do you need to update it? I don't understand. But anyways, I'm going to do a quick format. And I have, please make sure, warning, make sure that you do not delete, format any external USB drives you might have plugged in, an extra drive on your computer. make sure that it is your SD card. Now, this one right here, it says right here, card information, SD, XC. SD is for whatever this is called, the little thing. So I know that this is it. I know that this is the correct card, but I also know that the capacity of it has a 128 gigabyte supposed size. So at 119 gigabyte with overhead and stuff, I'm assuming that that is what it is. So I know, okay, this is the right card. It is the G card, and it says boot, which is the first partition on that card. So I know I have the correct one. I'm going to hit format and then yes, and then the green progress bar goes along the bottom. At the very end there, it hangs up because of reasons I've never figured out. So what I do is I usually do it twice, and for some reason on the second time through, it just goes really quick. See, like that. And then I go, okay, I always find that that's probably the best idea. So now I have a virgin card. It doesn't have anything else on there. When you go to your StellarMate and you sign in and you have your account and you've purchased your license and you've done all that, you're going to download StellarMate OS. Okay, it took me a bit to get in here, but I finally got to this part where at least I can show you something that isn't giving away any of my information. You have StellarMate OS, you have 1.7.3 64-bit here. I've downloaded it 2 times already. And then you have the older version, 1.7.2, that you can also download there. I've skipped over that version because it's every once in a while I do this, right? So then as they want you to use a program called, I'm going to go ahead and close these all out right now. They want you to use a program called Raspberry Pi Imager. And I'm going to bring that over there. And so I'm just going to go into my downloads where I already have some stuff here, and I'm going to choose the OS and I'm going to load it up. But I'm going to use a custom, and I'm going to go to my downloads folder, and I'm going to grab 1.7.3, and I'm going to open it up. And then I'm going to choose the storage, which is the one we just looked at. And this time it says 127.9 gigabytes. And then I'm going to write it. It's going to take some time to write it. So at this point, I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll be back when it's done. To get it onto the Wi-Fi, which is the first thing that I would like to do, because everything is kind of contingent upon being able to access this through that, okay? I'm going to need to use the iPad, because on our normal Raspbian install, this is Raspberry Pi's operating system and others, you could go up here to the top corner where you have the Wi-Fi, and you can right click on it, and you can enable the regular Wi-Fi. As you can see here, it only shows StellarMate. Now you can create a new Wi-Fi network and go through all that, but it's just there's too many issues here. Okay. Enable networking, enable Wi-Fi, enable notifications. You should be able, as I said, to get onto a Wi-Fi network. You cannot. You have to use a smart device. You have to use a StellarMate app. There are workarounds. Somebody who is more well-versed in this whole ecosystem, no pun intended, probably could figure this out. I am a newbie. I am not well initiated in Linux or Raspberry Pis or all that. I know a little bit, but I don't know enough. And so I just know that if I were to just install Raspbian OS, like just a bare bones, whatever it is, off of Raspberry Pi's website, I could get onto the Wi-Fi network by clicking up here and selecting my local Wi-Fi. JESM, StellarMate, they want you to use the app. Okay, they want you to purchase the app or download the app or whatever it is. I disagree. I disagree with this philosophy. So unfortunately, I cannot mirror what I'm doing on here and show you. But I will talk you through the steps. So I have an iPad. Okay, I think my wife bought me this for Christmas last year. I'm going to go to the settings and I'm going to go to Wi-Fi. Currently it's connected to my Wi-Fi here at home. And it shows that there is a StellarMate Wi-Fi hotspot available here. I'm going to push my finger on there and it's going to connect to StellarMate. Eventually, I get the blue check mark. I then go to the StellarMate app. And I go to the setup, which is the first thing on the bottom here. It's the first one. It says setup. And it wants me then to scan for this. Scan for the install. I'm going to do a rescan thing here. It's going to go and look for it. It unfortunately doesn't show up immediately. It is a very, very shitty, pardon my French here, shitty system. I don't like this at all. I have so many problems with this because it cannot seem to find all of this business. And like it needs to in order for any of this stuff to work. It's just crap. Okay? It really is. So no things. Okay. Yeah, it's just it doesn't want to find. It needs to find the hotspot, and it can't. And I'm hitting rescan, and it just doesn't see it. So again, I go back and I go to settings. I want to make sure. Oh, see, it changed off of StellarMate. I'm telling you, all of this it's just freaking annoying. It's fucking annoying. There, it finally found it. Jesus. Okay. Now I'm going to go down to the middle tab on the bottom where it says device. It's got an arrow pointing up, arrow pointing down. That's a little symbol. Oh, wait. I have to actually go into it. Okay. Go there. And then it's got all this stuff. Oh, I can't log in, all that. It keeps going back to the front page. It's just like I said, this whole thing is nonsense. It's just done so damn badly. Where it says hotspot and it has an IP address, I'm going to click on the little orange gear icon and it says join a network. And it should, of course it's not going to because it's crap. Eventually it says SSID and I'm going to do a little down arrow here. I'm going to pick my local area network, my Wi-Fi, type in the password. Hit return and then hit the orange connect, join Wi-Fi network. Yes, establishing a connection. And that's what I mean. It's like how many times I have to hit refresh? How many times did I have to start over to get this thing to see or to stay connected to the StellarMate thing? Now, once it gets going here, and it should, we should see the top up there where the bars are. Let me show you my mouse here. Up here, where the little Wi-Fi, it should do stuff. Let me just make sure that it's actually connected here. There was a problem while looking for Wi-Fi networks. Of course there was. No results. God damn, this is so dumb. Failed to communicate. That means that StellarMate, once again, was dropped off. It was. And now it's not showing up. So now let's go up here. It says Mickey 2021. So it did connect behind the scenes. Okay. Which means on this, I need to go back in there, go to the front, rescan, and see if it could find the right. And it doesn't. It just immediately stopped. It's got this little thing up here. It says 1%. And it goes, it doesn't even do anything. There. Now it's found it. It's over here. And I click on it. And then that's where you get started. Okay. Now I'm actually connected to it through the Wi-Fi to the laptop. See all that? It's like, it's done so badly. It's just awful. Okay. Now we can continue. Because what I need to do is I need to set up SSH and I need to set up VNC. Unfortunately, I think, if I remember correctly, VNC is not even installed on this system. So I go to the left top corner, I go down to Preferences, I go over here to Raspberry Pi Configuration. Eventually it'll pop up a thing here. I go to Interfaces, and VNC is not available there. SSH is in fact turned on, but VNC is not. So let's say I want to connect through SSH. It's a non-standard port. The standard port for SSH is 22. He has changed it to like 5624 or something crazy like that. I will tell you in a minute after I look it up because I forgot. Okay, and so I did look it up and I was right. It's, 5624 is the, 5624. So we have SSH and I use a program called Putty. And yep, I do have it right there. And you cannot see it because I am not sharing that screen. So let me go back 1 second to the other screen. Okay, and I've already done this. So let's see here. StellarMate 5624. I should just looked it up over here. I forgot. Load it up, and I'm going to now open a connection. And it asks me to log in. Now I'm trying to think. I think it's StellarMate and then SMate. Yep, that's what it was. So with SSH, it allows you to do the installation of some things. For example, VNC, which is what I'm going to install right now. So VNC, for some reason, it's not installed. It's supposed to be installed. It's a program that is by default installed, but it was uninstalled in this image. And again, you have to ask yourself, why is that? And the answer to that question is, my friends, because they want you to use the app. They don't want you to be able to just use VNC on your iPad and connect that way. They want to, well, not they, it's Jessam and his company, right? But they want you to use this. And so, but we can install VNC this way. All right. So there is, in fact, a web page that I had brought up. So this is the page. This is the page right here. I'm going to bring this over. And what we can do is when you're using Putty, or oh, come on, don't, it's because I wiggled it. You don't wiggle it. Okay, so when you're using Putty, it's actually pretty cool because you can come in here where somebody's already written some of these things like this one. I can grab this. I can right click to copy, and I just right click into here and it pastes it in there. And then I'm going to do this next part. Make sure you don't grab that period too. Copy, right click, enter. There we go. Now it's going to work. And then when I'm done, I'm going to reboot, and then it's going to show up. Well, here, actually, we can just go ahead and go over there real quick. 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to probably have to reboot when it's done. It's still over there scrolling. And I will enable VNC when it's done and all that. And you'll see up here in the top corner, see if I can get a mouse. You'll see up here in the top corner where this stuff is, you'll see a VNC icon. Okay, it's now done. It's installed, but it's not going to be here yet. We're going to have to do a reboot. So I'm going to come up here to this, and I'm going to go down to log out, and I'm going to hit reboot. You can also have done it in the terminal window just by typing sudo space reboot. Okay, and I'm going to pause this until it's fully rebooted. Okay, now we have rebooted. Now I can go back up. Oops, sorry, wrong. Always the wrong mouse. Always the wrong mouse. Click here, go down to Preferences, go to Raspberry Pi Configuration, and we go to Interfaces, and now we can slide this switch to on. Maybe reboot again. Okay, it's really weird that it's not showing the VNC icon up there. It always did on my other systems, but if I go over to the other screen here real quick. Okay, and I have VNC Viewer, and I double click on it, and it says VNC no longer presenting an identity. This is the little pop-up here that we get. You may not be safe to connect. You won't be warned about this again if you do. You click OK, and then you get this one, and then I click do not warn me about this again, although it continues to pop that up no matter how many times I check that box in. And then this pops up right here, because the left monitor is the primary monitor. That's why everything always pops up over there. But here we go. So now I'm on there. But yeah, it doesn't say VNC up here. It's really weird. But this is your VNC. This is your remote client. And now you can use it as if you were there. Okay. So you don't need a monitor plugged in. You don't need any of these things. So at this point, I could turn off the capture card and just share the VNC viewer screen. It would be the same. Okay, so now what we got to do is we have to install ASTAP. ASTAP, of course, is, and if you go up here, we'll drop this down, and you can see under like education, there's KSARS, PhD2, PhD2 log viewer, and QHY pollmaster, but there's no ASTAP. So we're going to open up a browser here. It's Chromium web browser, which is the like open source version of Chrome. It's the browser that Chrome is actually based upon. So Chrome is the Google product where they take Chromium and they add to it. All right, and we're going to come up here to the search bar, and we're going to put ASTAP plate salt. Spell it correctly though. Okay, and that's just to allow the search to be a little bit more precise. We are going to then go to the website here. And we're going to go down here to Raspberry Pi 64-bit because it is a 64-bit version. And then we're going to go to the first option here, Program Debian. We're going to click on that, and then it's going to start downloading as soon as this little timer gets here. It's going to warn you. You say keep, and then hit the little up arrow, show in folder, highlight it, right click, package install. It's going to ask for a password here in a second. Well, more than a second, apparently. Come on, there you go. Install, loading cache, and then right here you have to type in SMATE, S-M-A-T-E. Hit enter, and now it's going to start installing. And when it's done, we will also, actually, we don't have to wait. We can just do it right now. I'm going to go over here to the browser, and I'm going to actually close this window here because it's already pretty much installed. I'm going to hit back arrow twice, and then to this page, and then I'm going to download the H18 because I want the bigger database, and I have a bigger drive. My SD card is bigger. It's 128 gigs, so I have a little bit of extra room. It's going to take a bit for this to download. I'll be back when it's done, and then we'll do the exact same thing. Right click, install package, put the password in. Okay, so at this point, you just hit the keep, and then again up arrow, show in folder, highlight it, right click, package install, and install, and then it's going to ask for the password again, and then SMATE, and it's now installing. I don't know how long it takes. I don't know if it's downloading more off the, it looks like it's downloading packages. I do have a rather quick internet. I don't know if the Wi-Fi on the Raspberry is powerful or not, but I mean, at this point, all I can tell you is maybe I would pause this and come back when it's done. It appears to be done. I'm going to test by going to, where's my VNC, right? Yeah, okay, it's the VNC right here. Okay, sorry. I was a little bit confused. All right, so we go here and we go to education. ASTP is there. And then we go to stack and then alignment. And then it asks us which database. And there it is right there, H18. So I believe that means it's all set. I think we got it. And close all. Actually, we can probably go ahead and delete these two files. Let's see. I've never deleted anything off of here. Move to trash. There we go. Yes. And now we need to install Mountwizzard. Now, Mountwizzard is an interesting thing. The issue is that the script that you use to install the 64-bit version of Mountwizzard is buried, difficult to find. It took some doing. Once I found it, I put it up on my Discord, and now I know where to get it. So let me go ahead and I'll pause this until I can copy paste the link. I will put the link in the description of this video, but the way that Michael, who is a developer of Mountwizzard, does things, he'll create a beautiful set of instructions on how to do everything. And then within a very short amount of time, he decides to upend all of that and do everything completely different. And so all the old links and pages and everything else are no longer of any value. So when I put the link to the script to download and install, I just need you to understand that as of November 1st, 2022, it works. Maybe November 2nd, it won't work. I'm sorry. You're going to end up having to email him and communicate with him and talk to him and ask him where and how do you do this, because he keeps changing things. But as of right now, it works. So let me go ahead and get that, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to the browser yet again. Chromium browser. I'm going to paste it into here, and I'm going to hit, actually, is it already started, or do I have to? Yeah, it's already started. That's it. You just paste it. It'll pull this up, and it is, well, you can see the whole link right there. And I'm going to do the download. See, it's the support 2.0, because the 3.0 evidently is the one that's the beta right now, and it does not support StellarMate 64. It does not support 64-bit anything. So we have here this, and I'm going to now show in folder. And now we have to do a couple things, which I will go ahead and close background apps, because what we need to do here, guys, is we need to right click on the desktop and we need to make a working folder. So new folder, and it's work, spelled correctly, please. There we go, work directory. I'm going to open it on the side over here. I'm going to come over here to the StellarMate 64 scripts, and I'm going to extract here. It's going to create 3 scripts. I'm going to drag them using the left click of the mouse. I'm then going to add this one to the trash, just so it's not in here. The Mac OS X stuff I don't care about. I can also add that to the trash. And I can close this window. Now, I'm going to click this first one here, which is Mountwizzard 4 install script. It's going to create a log script or log file. The log file will increase in size as it installs. This is how I know things are happening, because there's no twirly thing happening. There's no progress bar. It is just sits there until it's done. So I click on the log file and I look at the size of a log file, and as the size of it increases, I understand that it is working. So I'm going to double click on install, and there's the install log, and you can see it starts at 67 bytes, and now it's 2.1 kilobytes, and etc, etc, etc. Okay, I am now going to pause this until it's done. And okay, we are back here, and the install log usually stops at 21.5, and it is there, so I know that it is correct. So now what you do is you would run the system, which is the MW4 run script. And it's going to create a, well, first of all, it's going to create a log, and then it's going to create some folders. So it's going to do a bunch of things all at once. So I'm going to double click. You got the run log right there. You got, you'll see some folders being created, but it's also going to, there it is. There's all the folders, and now it's initializing the application. And we are here. Now I'm not going to go very far into this in part 1, because we're going to end up with a very long video. So I will just try to, actually what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to hit this and make this full screen, because why not? Should have done it earlier. I don't need all of this just yet. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just minimize it. Okay. So the first thing that Michael always does on his YouTube videos and all that, when he shows you, is he hits save and quit. We'll pull up this again. I'm going to run it. I'm going to minimize it. And then it should load up. There it is. I mean, this is why you use VNC, so that you can do everything with your computer, your main computer. Okay, the Raspberry Pi is still sitting over here on my computer desk. Sorry for that if I hit the mic. I have to actually shut this down, take all this apart, go into my spare room over here where I have everything set up for testing, plug everything back in. It's actually supposed to rain tonight, so I can't even test this under stars. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to once again say, well, actually, I'll just do save and quit. Come up here, log out, shut down, and it's going to log me out of the VNC. Fair enough. And I'm going to let it go. The green light is blinking as it shuts down. I think that means right there that it's shut down. The red light is the only thing on now. Unplug power, unplug the cables, unplug the keyboard, unplug the little dongle here. Actually, before I forget, take the mouse, slide the cover off, put the dongle back in the little hole that it goes in, and do this, put this away. Now go plug this in, turn the mount on, be back. Okay, that should work. But now I have things I can actually connect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this full screen again. And the top up there where they blink, I don't know why that happens. It drives me nuts. Yeah, I don't know. So, okay, I want to now, once again, of course, restart Mountwizzard. I'm going to close this out, or not close it, but minimize KStars. Go to the working directory, and then I'm going to hit the run button here, and I'm going to close this box. Okay, so it should load up Mountwizzard 4. There it goes. And of course, okay, now at the top here, I mean, this is just basic stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to get it connected and then we're going to be done with this video. Mount, environment, dome, camera, solver. If you have an environment thing, then you'll obviously plug that in. I don't have one handy. My MGP box that I purchased, I've had the M box, the MG box, the MGP box. I've owned all three versions at one point or another. The USB, the little mini USB, they always break off, or the GPS breaks off, or something happens. If I even dropping it off of my telescope onto the grass one time, broke something loose inside, like one of the chips, and it was banging around. I have bad luck with it. And now I have the Pegasus Astro Uranus Meteor sensor thingy. I'm waiting for them to do some updates to it, but it is out at my observatory right now. It is not here. Therefore, I cannot demonstrate the weather part of it, but I can tell you how to do it, okay? So we go over here all the way to the right to it says settings. Here we have this. You go to the third new tab open where it says mount. This is where, and then my mount is 3490. I'm not sure why he has it defaulted to 3492, but my default is 3490. It's a default out of the box. That's what I use. So I'm going to put in my IP address for my mount. I have it memorized now because I use it so often. 192.160. This is not the same as yours. You'll have to take your keypad out and you'll have to look at what your IP address is in there. This is just for mine. 113. There we go. Okay. Once I hit the enter key, it finds it. It shows you my firmware. It shows you the date. It shows you the time. It shows you the hardware, whatever this one is, thing. It tells you what mount I have here at home. My 2000 is in my observatory out in Landers, California. My local one, the one that's my portable, my backyard, is my 1000. Okay, very simple. And this up here has turned green, telling me that it has worked. Now, under imaging, you have some things here for your camera, pixel size, resolution, all that stuff, right? It gets some of this through the Indy driver, but you have to configure the Indy driver. right? So that means we have to kind of go back to K-stars. And we're going to come up here to Tools, and we're going to go down to Ekos. We now have this profile wizard. And I'm going to start with doing next. And then it's equipment that is attached to this device. And because we're using VNC, this device is the Raspberry Pi, which is remote. I click on it. I put a new name. In this case, I'm just going to put 1000 HPS home. Okay. From my understanding, the internal guider is actually the equivalent of PhD2. It's just a matter of which one you have more familiarity with. You might choose PhD2 because it just makes sense to you. But the internal guider is as robust, is as fancy, is as amazing. It's just that they use different terminology for the same settings. This is my understanding from my co-admin on both the Facebook group and the Discord chat, who has helped me understand all this, because this is what he does. He's the StellarMate guy. I do not do this. I used to use Nina. So for me, I had to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to click the box for Sky Safari. I assume that opens ports or has some communication, allows me to use Sky Safari more easily. I'm now going to hit Create Profile and do that. Okay. So for the mount, of course, we just choose the 10 micron. We have to use a little drop arrow. Click that. For the CCD, I currently, here at home, I have 2 cameras available, well, 3 cameras available to me here at home. The first one is my DSLR, which I don't use, although I do have the adapters to use it and all that. I just don't do it. Okay. The second camera I have is a QHY 600 one-shot color. It's a full frame sensor. It's a nice camera. It's for dark skies. It is not really good for here, but I was having some issues with my Celestron reducer and getting vignetting in the corners. So I temporarily, and also the pick-off prism for the guide camera, if I pushed it down just before it actually created a shadow, the star shapes were so bad, it just bothered me. So I temporarily moved to my 16200A. So it's here, the 600, but I don't have it plugged in right now. I have currently my backyard EAA camera, which is the ZWO 294 Pro. So I'm going to go down here to ZWO camera 1 because it's not a CCD, it is a CMOS camera. For the guiding, I actually don't guide. Not at home anyway, right? I have a refractor. I have a Tech 140. It's very tightly mounted. It's got, I think I have 3 rings on it right now. I don't have any guide scope, or I don't have anything. It's just the bare bones because I don't need anything. But I plugged one in just so that I could have access to the guiding stuff. So it is a QHY 4623. Okay, focuser is the Pegasus Astro. It's the focus cube right here. And that's it. And then again, you have weather stuff. I don't have anything. The web manager, you do a scan. You hit scan and it finds it. And then you hit save. And of course, fill out all your stuff, right? You notice that in here is not a rotator. So I actually do have a rotator. So let me see if I can actually get that to work. I don't know. Finger Lake, okay, what is it called? It's Pegasus. So let's go down to Pegasus. Pegasus Astro. Falcon, right there. There it is. Okay. And then I hit save. Play. It should connect to everything. I might have to do a little bit of testing stuff. Okay. Optical train K-stars. I think this is where it wants me to put in more information about my field of view and all that stuff like that. Okay. So I don't know. Telescopes and lenses. Right? You see what I'm saying? You put all that stuff in there. Type refractor, aperture 140, focal length at full is 980, I think. 760 with the reducer, I think that's right. I could put in here model tech 140 vendor tech, and I don't know what ID would be, so I'm just gonna hit save and then click this, and then I guess IP steel star lens, Barlow lens filter. Okay, close. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I actually have never done all that, but let's check this out over here. So we have port selector for K-stars. So the LX200, it's going to be under network, and I'm going to put in this thing here. So it's 192.1. Remember, do not put mine in. Put yours in. Look yours up. The port was 3490, right? 3490. And let's see, the Pegasus, whatever. So focus cube. So we hit this one. It should connect. Hit this one. It did not connect. The Falcon. Oh, I have to choose a different one. Yeah, that one right there. There we go. Oh, this one here. Focus cube. Okay. Here, just disconnect, disconnect, connect, connect. Okay. And then this one, connect. Connected. Or you hit connect all. Okay. So now this is what we have. This is all this stuff. We have our mount. We have our rotator. We have the focus cube. We have the camera. And we have the other camera. And that's it. Close. And now we have all of this. All right. So with this going and running and all that, I'm going to minimize it. And then I'm going to go back here. So we're going to go to devices, camera. Down, I go to Indie. I hit set. It says Alpaca or Indie. I go to Indie Indigo. I do search. It finds it. See that? Show messages, low configuration on start. I don't know, whatever. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to then do this again. And it connects. Like, you have to drop it down again and select it. This is an issue, right? Focuser. I don't have a filter wheel, so I'm going to go down here to focuser. Once again, drop it down to Indie. Set. Click on the Indie tab. Search. Focus cube. Low configuration on start. Hit OK. It does not turn on, or does not go green. Grab it again. Now it goes green. Plate solver. ASTAP. Solver then goes green. I don't have a dome. I don't have weather or sky meter or power thing or online or mount. I don't have any of that stuff over here. I don't have any of this stuff. Make sure you hit the save button up here. Save. That's your configuration. Save it. Okay? And at this point, there's nothing else I can do because I don't have my GPS installed on there. I could. I actually have a little hockey puck GPS. I can actually wire that up and make that work. I might do that. But my point is, there's nothing else I can do at this point, okay? I have to get under skies. I have to have everything polar aligned, and I have to start using this software so I can make the next part of the video. But at this point, other than the environment, okay, so environment, right? It's going to probably be down here under this first one, the sensor. So you have like Indie, Alpaca, whatever. So you hit Indie, set, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Device name. I mean, I guess if you had things plugged in through, for example, your K-Stars, Ekos, right? You would have your MPG box, or your, I don't know, whatever it is that you have for your weather. I can't demonstrate it without the equipment here. And I'm sorry, you're just going to have to maybe do some Googling on that one. But at this point, guys, I think the video is pretty much done. More like little setting everything up, setting up the field of view of your camera, like what the chip sizes are, the focal length of your telescope gear, with or with reducer, without reducer, the focal length of your guide camera, guide scope if you have one. If you have your guide camera going through an off-axis guide or an on-axis guide, or what's your focal length, what's all that, image scale, everything. So orientation of degrees of tilt and all that. You have to put all that data in there, and that's just a matter of trial and error. And then remember, you still have this app going, and with this, it tells you your device temperatures and everything. You go to Ekos, and you can start everything, the jobs and stuff. You can go to targets, and you can get your target list to add into there. However, you have to have all of your field of view stuff put in there first, because without the field of view stuff, it can't do a lot of these things. So that is why it's important to go through and set up all your field of views of all your telescopes and things like that you're going to be using. Your camera sensor size and pixel size and everything else all has to be put in there. But for right now, I'm just going to hit disconnect. I'm going to hit the stop button. I'm going to close out Ekos. I'm going to close out Mountwizzard, save and quit, and turn all this off. I'm done for the day. I hope this helped in some way. I hope I didn't confuse you even further. But I think if you go through step by step, you will have at least get into this part rather quickly. The downside is using your smart device with StellarMate to get your Raspberry Pi onto your local area network. I think if you just plugged it into a LAN cable, like put the LAN cable and plugged it into your router at home, that would be an easier way to do it. But getting it on your Wi-Fi, it took a lot of effort until I got it all working. So, and it's a lot of like refresh. Why isn't it working? Scan, rescan. Finally worked. Oh, now the iPad has gone back to the normal Wi-Fi. It's no longer on StellarMate. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. With that, guys, please please comment, please subscribe. Let me know how this worked for you, and I will make more. I'll have a part 2 actually using it at some point, and I'm going to do other videos as well, setting up and using Nina. Is SGP even worth using anymore? I do have a license still with that, so I could dabble in that a little bit. Yeah, and it's what else is going on, just doing some product reviews. I do want to talk a little bit about that Pegasus Meteos sensor thing. It was $380 introductory price after shipping and tax and everything. I think it was at $400. And then immediately found out that it didn't send the weather data to my 10 micron like I was promised when I originally ordered it. So very, very disappointed. But I have all that to talk about in future videos. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and you'll get notifications of those said videos. And for now, I'm out of here. Goodbye.